Welcome. I hope you guys are all doing well. It's Karen and Lucy McDonald. I'm so excited you guys are here. It's like my frequency Fridays. So we're just going to wait a few minutes till people get in and get going. So as you can see, it's a little blurred back there, but you can see the lovely forest and at least some of the greens. It will get a little bit better as the sun goes down, and we're enjoying the solstice today. So this is our Solstice Friday. And I really wanted to thank everyone for joining me because it's an exciting time to be alive. So these are some of the things that we have going on. I'm really excited. Tomorrow is going to be my exciting day. Today, David Hickey is playing. He's like the original, almost pioneer for basically most of Canada for song bass and frequency and sonic temples and everything else. He's been at it for like over 30 years. I remember enjoying him and like being able to do some incredible CDs and stuff like that when we were jamming way back when in the old Saskatoon days. But anyway, he is now out in the Okanagan and we have like enticed him out here. So we've got him all weekend. So we're going to enjoy that solstice weekend out here with our people locally. So tomorrow I'm actually going to be out here and hopefully maybe we might even be able to live stream it for you guys because it's been a while since I've done a live stream and actually been on the expo, been on the circuits and actually showing people how to do it. But tomorrow, at 4:00, I am going to be in the West Kootenays, and I'll be at the New Denver Knox Hall while we're out here. And I'm really looking forward to that because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teaching all about frequencies and vibrational and bioresonance. So if you guys are in the area or you want to do it, give me a thumbs up or let me know. I think we might be able to figure out a live stream tomorrow for you so we could get you guys aware of what we're doing. So tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about biofield. And we're going to I like to do things interactive. So I'm not joking. I've been up here making raw chocolates and raw cacao, you guys. And this is something that, I insist actually everyone has. So I'll make a fruit version and a berry version. But those people that like chocolate, we're going to be putting in some frankincense and other essential oils because we're going to raise the vibration. We're going to put it on my frequency trays and we're going to infuse those things out. So those are one of the things we'll talk a little bit about. Using at-home biofeedback machines, if you've got Scalar or if you want to try them out. These are amazing technology. So one of the ones I like to work with, I've got about 6 of them here. My favorite one is actually, I think, to go to is the insighthealthapps.com. They got BioVibes and Rife and Scalars and Odysseys and fractals for your water, fractals to clear off the food, fractals for you. You can have a fractal good day. So anyway, we're going to take a look at that. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in, because again, those could be done. So I just got off the phone with Catherine Berchot. She's going to be one of my co-hosts teaching. We'll be getting out those old tuning forks and teaching a little bit about voice, meditation, kirtan, chanting, getting the inner vibes up and raising that energy kundalini and expanding the biofield. So that's where I want to go with this tomorrow. So we're going to talk about how this actually all interfaces. So this is going to be actually a lot of fun. So I'm just actually sitting here. I just got a new photocopier. So I'm making things out for the class for tomorrow. But this is one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about today is that life's pleasure and pain are always held in that biofield. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so I don't know. Are you guys aware? Most of us have between 12 and 13 feet. You should have an expansive. So almost as large as you can see out here. This should be my little bubble. And what happens very much like you see the lattice back here, those are the grids that actually surround us. So we actually have these acupuncture and nodals sitting all around us. And what happens is that as you accumulate stuff in this lifetime and other lifetimes, but in this lifetime, your actual trauma from childhood and as it accumulates is actually on the outer periphery. And so that's a lot of times why when we mix with people, it's just can't connect, or there's something in there, or birds of a feather flop together or fly together. I don't know. It could flop together too. But this is one of the things in there that's really, really important that you guys realize. So that is part of the biofield. And I know this might be a little bit small, but I hold it up for the camera for you here. And one of the things, too, is that we are all frequency. This is the whole, let's see if we can look it up here. So this is the biofield. I think we can see there. So that's that little biofield that we see. And it goes it's multiple timelines next to us. And so when you see that biofield, what we're going to do is we're going to start on the outside. So we're going to use tuning forks. I'm going to use biofeedback. I'm going to be having my amethyst crystal bed. I'm going to warm everyone up. Not that, we just have a little bit of fun. but literally we're going to be bringing in some different things and toys. Okay, so we'll be teaching everything about frequency, like the power of light, the power of sound, the power of voice, the power of essential oils. And anyone that wants to come tomorrow, they'll be sitting on this recliner bed and getting, I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you hear that vibration? So this actually goes from 660 nanometers to the 880. And one of the things you can do, these are on Amazon, you guys. And if you want to get psychedelic, you can too. But in here, what you can do is these are easily obtained on Amazon. Okay. And a lot of these ones you can get half decent ones, literally anywhere from $50 to $100. You don't need to go into some of the thousands of dollars. So that's one of the things. So I don't know how many of you have tried Farm for Red. That is one thing to do. The other thing I'll be bringing will be 2 amethyst crystal biomats tomorrow. And we'll be lining one on the recliner, a little mini mat. And we can now run sound, light, PEMF through it as well and create like actually a bubble around you, which is I'm really excited to do. And one of the things too is that a lot of people don't realize, does anyone in the audience know how many megahertz does it take to make your brain function, to get those higher chakras going? Does anyone know? Let me know if you know in the audience there. Pick a number. You can't be wrong. You could be right, whatever. It's just, again, a guesstimate today. So anyway, it's normally close to about 90 megahertz. And again, millionths or hertz. How many times is that thing oscillating per minute, per second? Okay, so in here, what we want to do is that you can take all the fresh herbs that you like, and you know those aren't going to oscillate more than maybe 90. You'll be lucky if you get there. And what happens is the minute you take something, let's say instead of organic tea or an alkaline tea or let's say something that's alkaline like dandelion, once you start using coffee, it drops your immune system down to 58. And if you know about the house and everything else and the wiring system, you have a hard time coming up. And coffee could be so dangerous unless you're switching over to mud coffee and putting things in like coconut oil and trying to make it alkalized or bringing it up or taking some baking soda afterwards. It takes basically 3 days to get your brain back to functioning. And that's just by even smelling it. So 3 days or 12 cups of water with some baking soda. That's a lot of stuff. And people just don't realize how damaging it is. So once we get into the range of cancers, you're going to be looking at the cancer range somewhere about 42. And 42 megahertz is actually where a lot of that, the colds, the flus, Epstein-Barr, all these sort of things are basically weaponized in that range. So we need to be able to teach people how to raise their vibration. It's one thing to sing. It's another thing to chant. It's another thing to meditate. It's another thing to listen to music. Another thing to listen to some video tones. But if you don't have it all together, it's, again, it will stagnate energy. There's ways to do it. Now, the interesting thing, and this is what I'll be teaching, is did you know that having a negative thought or negative energy takes only 3 seconds, and it lowers your actually entire immune system or the biofield down by about 12 megahertz. 3 seconds for just to be in a negative state of mind. But the funny thing is when you go into a positive, it actually increases by about 13 megahertz. So just remember, for every minute that you're in grief, suffering, pain, anger, fear, that's robbing you from being into that bliss and joy states and love states. So anyway, one of the other things that's deadly, and of course I left it in the other room and it's Faraday caged and it has enough stickers on it. But anyway, is a cellular phone. Those cellular phones are so dangerous. Those things are awesome. Can you imagine? I talked about, 20 hertz, 30 megahertz, that sort of thing. Those phones vibrate at 2000 megahertz. They are so dangerous. And the minute it rings or touches or goes on, you have immediate brain damage. So let's figure out what that can do. And that's almost at the rate that a CPU, the speed of what AI can do and instructions also could process. So, I mean, you're working at really high oscillation rates. So anyway, those are some of the things in there. And I want to talk a little bit here. So you can see some of the different, there's some biofeedback. Those are the old scanners. And we can go in and start looking at your spine, looking at the emotional rhythms. Vitamins, minerals can be read energetically. But let's take a look at this girl here. Okay, so those are the, main solfeggio tones there. And so, again, when you think about what these biofeedback devices can do up here, those biofeedback devices here can run, it's like having 70,000 or 80,000 or unlimited amount of tuning forks. Most of them you can't hear, they're outside the hearing range. And I want to bring attention to, and I was just talking to Robert Bauer. So if you haven't looked at his intuitive sound, it's amazing. Or if you want to look at his robertbauer.com, there's a book called The Song of the Spine, the Spinal Frequencies. And every different vertebrae here has got at least 2 frequencies. So 33, that's what, 66? 66 frequencies, and each one of those tie into emotions. So again, liver, this sort of thing. Where's your L3, L4? Where are you going into the thoracics, that type of thing. So put that, into perspective, what's going on here. Now, the key is working with biofeedback, which I kind of like to do because it's like muscle testing, but, cosmically. And I like having things like that because now I can play with not just, square waves or sine waves or sawtooth or whatever I want, triangular waves. I can now actually attack things, viruses, bacteria, not just raise my general health by hooking up to a battery booster with the sine wave. So as we know today, and today is the solstice, and some days we have 7.83 megahertz going, and some days we don't. And some days you're seeing that the earth is starting to vibrate, isn't it? It's getting bigger. Sometimes you'll see it spike 50, 60, 100. Okay, it affects people. And if you can't rise and meet to that challenge, that will affect people. And, it's basically, showing where the, pollution is, and we need to dilute it and get that out of there. So I want you to sort of think of even what the acupuncture is doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So as we talked about the earth being 7.83, you know what the sun is? Anyone want to guess? 120.22. And there's Colin. My wise friend Colin is in there, the real Colin Wise. We thank you. He's joining from the UK today, right? So we're talking a little bit about, the frequencies and about a little bit of what I'm teaching tomorrow. So the meridians, in there. So if the earth is 7.83 and the sun is 126.22, guess where your traditional Chinese medicine, guess where that conception vessel is? Get this. Why do we need to open up? It's like the breaker switch, 60 megahertz, you guys, 60. Okay, so that's why I start talking about using tuning forks or using biofeedback or something that's going to go in there. I'll be playing with hand drums tomorrow and all sorts of things. So one of the other things as well here, what we can do as well is when we get, things that people or clients that have cancer, stuff like that, we call it a sweep. So what I might be doing is doing a cancer sweep, let's say from 6.8 to 20.5 to 33 to 440 to thousands. You might be even running something at 120,000 or 30,000. But one of the things I want you to remember is that going in and using the tuning forks, again, for the most part, you're only dealing with, as a rule, you'll see most of them, where you got 128, 432, that sort of thing. Even though you can get kits and stuff, you do not have the accuracy or the tuning that we can do with radionic equipment. So, and again, taking a look at what we've got for the frequency. And so that's where I want to get into the oils and all my chocolates, as I talked about earlier. These chocolates are all spiked. They will not just be on my biofeedback machines, you guys. So they're going to be already boosted on this kind of a thing, but they're going to be boosted with essential oils. Okay, so that's one of the things in here because we want to spike those things up. And one of the things here, so if we used Valor like on massages, that runs at about 46. Megahertz, peppermint 78. We use things like frankincense because frankincense is 147. And if I put a little spruce in, which I might do that, that'll be in the 500 hertz. So again, food can be vibrational. You can clear out toxins, but you can also re-imprint or reinfuse. So I intend to have everyone, spiced up and high energy tomorrow before I even start to talk to them. And that used to be something I did like 10 years ago when I was on, as a keynote speaker or sitting on stage, right? I made sure everyone in the audience basically could have enough, to try or test or anyway. The other thing I'll be doing is I'll be spiking everyone's drinks tomorrow. We will be putting lemon in. We will be getting in oranges or citruses in. We can put oranges in. You could put grapefruit, or another great thing as well is to always go with your peppermint. So you can never go wrong with peppermint water. So anyway, Colin's thinking you need to take notes. Of course, most people do. So one of the things, actually, I should have dragged out here, but I've got a whole entire thing I've been packing all day, right, for the last 2 days. So I brought a lot of books out. And one of the things Colin made note of is Eileen McKissick. So I want you to go. She's got a great book. It's called Biofield Tuning. But I've got lots of things because when I was Dr. Len Horowitz's rep way back in like 2007, 2008, in that era, my gosh, almost like 20 years ago, what happens is that he wrote some amazing books, about 528, the miracle of the 528, the miracle of what we were doing with water, with ourselves, using that. But we also worked a lot back then with Jonathan Goldman. He was a big Jonathan Goldman. So Jonathan Goldman's got some great books. But I talked a little bit last week about Jerry Tennant. So I want you to look up Jerry Tennant and talk all about the circuits and stuff like that, how they come up, go through and come down and come through the teeth. And those meridians, when again things are blocked coming through, you're going to see tooth and acupuncture points. So remember, if you got, problems with the wisdom teeth or the back, it's going to be the colon and intestines, and again, different organs here. So just like we read in iridology, we do the reflexology of the teeth. Okay, iridology, tongue, something also. I just talked to a friend of mine. She's just amazing, Stacy. And so many, many years ago, again, 20 years ago, I had myself and all my staff trained. I put them all through a weekend with someone called Terry Bell at the time. It came out of Manitoba. And we did something called Show Tai, which was a really great thing of looking at muscle testing, kinesiology, doing the iridology and doing some herbology. And it was amazing, results that people got. They were like the Cirque du Soleil of herbologists going, town to town every 3 days. They'd sit there and, see clients from 9 to 9. So anyway, it's amazing because I just found out they're going to be in the area coming up here. And if she didn't get trained, and I got trained 20 years ago, we thought, hey, we might put on another, talk about this. I mean, there's just things that are coming together, in there. And Colin's making a note that Dr. Tom Cowan interviewed. I think that's important. We're really starting to see the integration coming in. And that's actually what I've always been part of, is having trained formally as a neonatal nurse, right? I've been nursing it's 40 years, you guys, already. It's actually over. It's 41 since I started doing my training. And what happens in here is that integrative or complementary alternative medicine has always been around. And I remember, people putting in, crystals and rocks and stuff into the isolates and bassinets. And I was like, what are they doing? But I was never poo-pooing them like a lot of the other, I think, allopathic nurses did at the time. And that's what led me to, and Colin talked about, I've always suffered with a sore back in the middle. Well, one of the things I will give you, she that's had back surgery, let me tell you, and been off initially, that's actually what set me on my course, actually, was an injury. And so when I was nursing, which occurred from doing stuff and twisting and everything else, which led to a whole array of 3 years of just intense, and it still is residual today. If you re-aggravate it, you don't know what you're going to do, right? But here's the key. And one of them I always tell people is at pH, because when you are sore, the muscles all contract, okay? And that acidity causes the pain to intensify. So the very first key, when I've broken my knees and broken my ankles and everything else, the first thing I did was I got alkalized. I made sure, because you might think you're alkalized and go, oh, I was fine. I was around 7.5, 8. Well, not if you have an injury, not at all. So it's not unusual that people drop below critical levels. They'll be below 6. And I've seen that happen time after time. Even an emotional incident can do that to you. So emotional trauma can do that to the body as well, let alone, a motorcycle or an MBA or something like that. So the minute you have that, make sure you're alkaline. So that's the first thing I teach all my clients. No one comes into my bathroom or into my clinics unless they've gone home with litmus paper. So that's the first thing you need to know. Second is I like people to go in and do some biofeedback, because you can scan your spine. Remember, our biofeedback, scalars and Rife, okay? And if you haven't done that, get a hold of me at KALM13 at Proton Mail, or at Calm, that's Calm, before the storm, but Calm13 at Proton Mail, or clanmother13 at Gmail with a K. So the reason why is because I can scan anyone within less than 15, 20 minutes. If you haven't had a scan by me, you're missing something. Even if you want a 15-minute demo, I can go in and quickly remote view you, look at your aura and look at your back, and look at the herbs and wills to apply. Now, the reason why is that in the back, we've got things. We've got bladder along the back. We got the governing vessel. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of it can be colon. It can be digestive issues contributing to that. If not, what I always suggest is people can go, if they don't have a raindrop kit, which you don't need to have a raindrop kit. Quite frankly, I think it's totally overpriced. And what you can do is you can get, even if it's 4 or 5 oils, or you get a little kit like this. These are not expensive. You can get all these little kits on Amazon, wherever you are, .ca, .uk, whatever. And as long as one of them is usually in there, probably peppermint, what you do is you apply these essential oils even to your feet. And even, again, you don't need to have a reflexologist. You don't have a massage therapist. And even though I teach raindrop technique, you get the essential oils on, and you can put them even all in one blow. You don't have to sit there, but just put them all in one blow. And I mean, just put them into a little dish. You apply them to the skin. And then what you do is you put some castor oil, or at least some sort of a carrier oil, to seal it in, because you don't want all this to evaporate, do you? So again, aromatherapy, a sealant oil, and here's the key. You ready? Hot, wet towels. So if you don't do the hot, wet towels, like I said, you're not going to get the full penetration and effect. I can take anyone out of pain, and after you do 4, 5, 6 of these, you actually can see the spine realign. When I used to have my clinics with the chiropractors, do you know what used to happen? Literally, it was mind-blowing. They'd go, how did you do that? The x-rays would actually change. We had people with scoliosis, lordosis, kyphosis, all those sort of things, hunchbacks, start straightening out. Okay, there's another thing that we have, and again, my book is packed, but it's called Releasing Negative Emotions by Dr. Karenann, who I trained with as well, plus also trained with Dr. Gary Young in how to apply these on an emotional. There are emotional things at a cellular level that you need to know the hertz or the frequency or the megahertz to get like a key and lock into there. And so, for example, if there's liver, that could be lower back pain. Okay, it could be anywhere in that lower thoracic or the upper lumbar. And again, it could be bladder, you're pissed off, could be all sorts of things. So essential oils are the key. They're the only thing that take the charge off of a negative emotion. By the way, you know how to do it properly. This is how you deal with this life, childhood life, sexual abuse, ritual abuse, and past life, because you need to know how to take the charge off. And a lot of these can be frequency imprinted through the technologies that we have and get right into that emotion. Okay, so whether it's grief, it's suppression, it's depression, oppression, whatever you think it might be, even people think that they have Klingons and entities, you need to expand the biofield, right? Now, if one was to go play, and I talked about doing, these are really cool, as I talked about it, and if you missed that, if this was before you were there, again, you can get these. The difference when you get these little Farm for Red mats, what will happen is that usually Farm for Red or near infrared, they only penetrate so far. That's when I went into the amethyst crystal biomats, and you can do this on top of it after. But one of the things is with an amethyst crystal biomat, now what you're doing is you're penetrating 6 to 8 inches internally into the organs. And that's where I get into the chelation part, because you can use that to chelate out. So one of the things in there, I think that's why it's so important. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but these are a tiny little, those are the amethyst crystal biomats you're seeing up in here. Okay. And so there's the biomats here. They're amethyst, they're crystal. They change the vibration all around you. So again, you can look at those, but that is the difference from going in there. And again, I talked a little bit, Colin, like how do you deal with pain? There's how to apply essential oils to yourself. It's nice when you get one of us to play with you, but you can actually play with yourself. And again, oils can go on the feet right there. And again, essential oils on the feet, castor oil, hot, wet towels, 10 minutes. And sometimes you might have to do that 2-3 times a day. The other thing, as I've always talked about, is yoni, vaginal, or pelvic floor steaming. That actually penetrates all the way through up the middle of the back. So most people don't know that. Enemas and colonics can get rid of lower back pain. Enemas and colonics can also, and those steams can also deal with physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual problems. Okay, so you can get rid of a lot of shit as well. Don't overlook doing enemas and colonics here, because it's very, very important. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise the vibration. Okay, when people are in pain, you're down here. It's like chakras. When you got problems down here, it's hard to access the higher realms. So again, foods come into there. And that's where the pH is. That's why most people's pH looks like this. Just crap. Absolute crap. And that's why these steamed chairs or stools, sitting on them even 15, 20 minutes a day. And I've even taken, can you see these like little lawn chairs here? I mean, most people see those little lawn chairs that you go and you get, they're $5, $10. I mean, I've actually put in a hole into them. I have no excuses in my world. I don't know why most people, I don't think they have a sentimental attachment. But let's go back to here for a second. So there's the idea of using the essential oils on the feet, hot, wet towel. Essential oils, sealing oils. And you know what? I used to do this all the time. I used to see all the things. Everyone would have crappy like live blood cell, and then I would do these techniques, and next thing you know, they're great. Okay, so we used to do it for animals. I've done it for dogs, horses, bunnies. Pickle was a boar. We did boars and pigs. And actually, our team went out and they actually did in Dubai camels. So a lot of things can be done here. Okay, so like I said, take a look at this. That's why that biofeedback is so important. It takes you from the bottom right up to the top very quickly. So I would suggest if you haven't, call in. I can't remember if we've done a quick little 15, 20-minute session, but worth doing it. But again, you've got to get the pH up, you guys. If you're not up in here when you're acidic, you're going to be in that pain. And so those are one of the things I'm going to suggest. So if anyone got any questions and what I could do here, those are some of the things I want to start, because let's take a look at some of the things that we've got for advanced vibrational healing right now. Okay. And what do I deal with here? We deal with stress, trauma, post-traumatic stress. I can deal with traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, Russian Vedrus medicine, herbs, essences, crystals, gems, aromatherapy, the detox beds, enemas and colonics I talked about. I talked about pelvic floor steaming, didn't I? Massage to reflexology, full body and V-steams, iridology, face reading, synergy, like what Sabrina Wallace talks about. So we look at the biofield aspect, chronic pain, hormones, sexual abuse, ritual abuse, looking at vitamins and minerals. You may not have the right complement of electrolytes and minerals to get that juice up there, right? Allergies, digestive issues, toxins and infections, EMF, 5G, neurovisor. Even, did you know I can do blood energetic dark field like a live blood cell? So this is something we need to look at. So if you guys need to get a hold of me, like I said, I'm more than happy to meet with anyone for 15 minutes. That's on the house. That's, gratis there if you haven't had a session with me before. So I have no problem bringing people in and initiating them into very simple things that they can do at home. So those are something amazing. So, maybe that's just something we can do for you right now, because there are so many different ways to look at that spine. And I just want to go back to that again. Take a look here. Okay, so as we talked about the biofield here, right? And the spine, now start looking again, chakras, colors, minerals, vitamins, everything. And you might be missing those vitamins in the yellow zone to rise you up. Okay, there are things that say like carbon and copper and all those things. If you don't have them in the right balance or the right platonic solid, your entire biofield or Merkaba could be out, right? So let's take a look at that. Most people have never thought about that. So let's just, for gigglies here, what we can do. I can still access. So, Colin, I'll tell you something real quick. I will do a quick session. You can go to Facebook, because I know we're connected there, and you can actually give me your date you arrived, and I will put something in here for you right now. Because you know what? I can do anything from a distance, and what's going to help you is going to help the other people, right? So we can take a look at that spine right now, and I can actually do a quick 5-minute little tune-up here and put this in the background so that anyone that is looking at this and thinking that, well, hey, I could probably, use a tune-up too. You can see people when, they're not aligned up here. Okay. You can see this as we do the scans, right? Up and down energetically, you will start feeling better. And you can see people's energies and auras. I mean, just literally, you can see inflammation like this in a biofield, and then run some frequencies. And next thing you know, they're feeling a little better, So these are some things in here. But again, those are, one of the things on here. But when we start looking at this, the biofield and the synergy that we're looking at is everything is connected. And I like to look at the entire biofield on someone, because if they're coming towards you like this, you can be picking up other people's energies. And I mean, one of the things is just to, get that removed. And it doesn't take that long to start running frequencies through you. So whether you hear it or don't hear it. And so one of the things I will do myself, and you know what? It will work for you, because those frequencies, I can put in pain frequencies. I can run a spinal that you will actually hear. And with the frequencies, you're going to get the benefit of it. So let's say if I was to go into something like this, and I'm going to show you how easy it is just to do the quick download here. But anyway, it's not rocket science, you guys. So in here, I'm just going to put myself in just for gigglies, because why not? I can. And it's Fridays, so I might as well look after myself. Physician, heal thyself, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk to the microphone. I just hit the microphone on. And so we're going to go A-E-I-O-U. This is a tricorder. It's not a binary laptop. It works on 3 different triangulations. A-E-I-O-U. You can see how it was doing the voice. Now, I want you to see something. Every time you do something here, and we'll just record again, once you start seeing the voice start moving, I want you to take a look at the voice imprint. A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. Hugh. Look what those sounds do. Okay. So that makes a huge difference there, doesn't it? So even people, when they do different things like kirtan or chanting or meditation, there are things you can always do to up your game. And the cleaner the voice catch, the better it is, for us. So I'm just going to go into here. And then what I'm going to do is actually do a photograph. And again, you don't have to keep this on. It doesn't have to go to AI. It doesn't have to go up to the cloud. Again, once you do the software, you don't have to go back on the internet. That's the beautiful thing about doing that. So again, once you take your picture, you can put it in. And again, you can do live or distance. You can run it for 1 minute. You can run it all day and all night. You choose the length of time that we want. And then one button here says, let's begin the session. So we are beginning the session. And within a few minutes, you are going to, once I load it up, there will be some things. And even Colin, even minutely, you will pick it up. So we always take a look at what the aura is. And again, on here, do I use the AI? I don't like, we got to look at a better thing. What we got is automatic, and it's an interface. It's an interrogative interfacing actually operation. So I think this is important. And yes, this is coming through. I just talked to Ryan Williams, and I'm definitely going to be on board using this. So as you can see, for the most part, everything's not too bad there today. Let's take me out of the way. Okay, could use a little bit of help on that outer ring, but I'm also outside and I'm exposed. And I don't know if you can see, but you see how big the wires are? Okay, I'm not in my protected canoe, my cocoon out there. Okay, the other thing too, again, I've got a little bit of back pain. Okay, actually, I got a lot of back pain today. Okay, but these are where we're starting off. And so I can always take a picture and we're going to work with that. Normally on a great day, it will be hot pink and all purple. Okay, so I think that's the way to go. There are many different ones. Like I said, you can use other ones here. There are so many to try out. This is a great one. So a lot of times I actually am using the Rife and this Odyssey all at the same time as it's recording my voice. And it's got a pain thing in here and an organ and a hormone and everything else. So usually when I'm doing my clients, you guys, I'm actually got 3 different devices on them as a rule, plus me. And I'm faster than the other ones in here. So anyway, no, I just love it. Just add in, right? So literally just within seconds, I can go into another device. Now, this is the thing is that when you get what I call preloads, this is kind of like, well, I mean, obviously better listening to YouTube. Why would we listen to YouTube when we have this kind of technology in here? But let's take a look from this. And again, it says here, oops, some antiseptic cleaning because I've been around mold today, hormone, nutrition, and cold ear, stuff like that. My ears were a little plugged because around some mold and stuff, and to build up the whole immune system. But if I want it to go into pain management, there's a whole pain here. So you can target any area of the body. You can go into any organ here, brain, head, whatever you want, detox all you want, head to toe. Okay, you want to do affirmations, you want to sleep better, there's a program for you. The other thing too is we have a Rife. I like this as well. I'll do that a lot with clients. So let's say you had a spine injury or you had back. You can just go into type spine. You could type back. You could put pain, and then it's just going to run the frequencies here. So let's say someone was in pain. That's all you have to do. Now, this is the difference when you have isochronic tones. Can you guys hear this? Okay. Can you hear those tones a little bit? Is that loud enough for you guys? Give me a thumbs up or a yes if you can hear that a bit. Okay, so you got an idea of what that is. So again, you can run those frequencies. And again, that's all you have to do. Try this for 5 days. You got nothing to lose. And again, they're designed to work with headphones or earbuds. For those of us, I call this my bio bear. I love it because I'm a bear clan mother, but white bear. But what you can do is actually we work with electrodes and biosensors. Only if someone's not pregnant, only if they're not menstruating, only if they're not nursing, and if they don't have pacemakers. And I will never put anyone on any device and hook them up directly with anything if they've been taking the injections or they took a topical up the nose, up the butt, or wherever they want to do it these days, as they're doing it with ostriches near me. Don't get me started. And again, you can also see too, I'm wearing my little air tamer. I was out today at the market. Okay, so mine's still blowing. There's a lot of things. How many people have noticed the geoengineering up there? Anyone notice those chemtrails? Is that not insane? Okay, so make sure you have one of these. Amazon. Wearable neck air purifiers. Okay, so another thing that you can do too is get these bone oscillation. I love these too. These are pretty funky. If you haven't seen these are bone conductors. If you don't like Bluetooth, I still find this outweighs the damage, but you could put headphones or earbuds around it. So if you got a sore back or something, you could put it here, or you could put your foot around it and do the reflexology points. I have 101 ways to fix this up. So we're going to go back into here and we're going to go back into our Genius. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load some things. I have multiple libraries. I've made so many libraries. I think it's probably about 4,000 individual lines. They will be going out hopefully pretty soon. And Blue, you've got a cat named Blue Truth. That's cute. And Nanette says she wears her wearable air tamer. Yeah, all the time. You get room ones too, right? Okay, so one of the things in here is it suggests there could be some biofilm and to get my pH up, which I know we have to. Also some liver drops. So I have made lots and lots of these things. So I've looked for venoms. I can look for abuse. I can look in my lab. I can look in TIs. I can look for radiation, fog, whatever. If there's probably something wild, I've probably made one for it. Vision, pain, neuropathy, depression. I've made my own on top of what they will give you here, but they give you about 30,000 things. So one of the things is most people know about chakras, right? You can look at the chakras. Now, this is the cool thing. So Colin, pay attention. Annette, tell them. So what you can do is go to any one page and just hit quick balance. And what you're going to do is you are going to do just that page. That's why you can't screw this up. So even though I have a tray down here, I'm going to start adding things up, red or blue, or make a custom. So this is just my custom tray, but you don't have to do that. What we can do, we can go in and we can look at those solfeggio tones maybe you want. Maybe it's telling you what tuning fork to use. Okay. I actually have my entire tuning fork collection in here of what to do. So let's say I want to play traditional Chinese medical doctor. Not at all, because I don't need one. Okay. Let's say your gallbladder's out. Okay. Low back pain. Or let's say you want to work on that governing vessel, right? And the governing vessel, I told you I had low back pain. I was not joking. Okay. There it is. All you have to do is hit quick balance, and you are now doing that acupuncture point and meridian. Is that not cool? Isn't that cool? So again, remember, it works on a phone, a tablet, or an iPad, or a high-level Mac computer. With what you can do is put an M2 chip or one. Now, one of the things in the back, we have something called frequency, shape, and form. You can adjust to whatever you want. So I like to exam people, so I put it on 50, but you can put default. You can choose whatever sounds you want. You know, you want nature, you want chimes, whatever, that's up to you. You can do sonic or you can do archetype. So does anyone know what that is? Okay. And I will tell you, there is someone, and I can talk about it because he's been on the air and we did many shows. In fact, he got me on Dr. Charlie Ward, is Dean Musar out of Coldstream, Kelowna, British Columbia. Now, what happened is Dean has a show called Patriot Parabellum, and he got me onto Charlie Ward because you know what happened? He had chronic back pain for 40-some years. When he was young, he jumped off a shed. He actually crushed the vertebrae, and he had been in chronic pain. We did this for less than 15 minutes, and he started crying, and he bought one. Okay, end of story. Okay, I did a couple things years ago with him when I did some of the stuff. Now, I'm just working directly with Ryan Williams, with the developer, and I've done some shows with the course. One of my other colleagues is Dr. Deborah Drake. She's a medical doctor that she said she's a recovering medical doctor, but she's gone holistic like I have. So we've taken our stuff, and I'm also affiliated with Dr. Paul Duran. I just got to spend some time doing a meditation with him out of Hawaii, and we have a university called the Integrative Quantum University, and it's an international medical university. Literally, there are doctors, nurses, and all our stuff. So if you haven't seen IQUIM, we have been putting out quantum medical doctors and nurses and professionals for over 15 years, by the way. So there we go. But in here, you can actually hit those isochronic tones that we have that rife built in. So if you want to look at calming or pain or whatever you want, we could do into that. I'm going to put some pain in here, anything like that to calm down, get the immune system, and again for sleeping. But we're going to put all these things in, and then literally we are going to look at a couple more things. You should have, and again, Sabrina talks about what? The biofield. There's the sacred geometry, guys. There's your sacred geometry around someone. Okay, and when any node is broken, you are in deep, deep caca. So we need to get that toroidal biofield going. The other thing, how many of you guys have heard of Dr. Paul Noget? Has anyone been trained in auricular therapy like me? I'm an oracle, okay, and an oracle auricular. Okay, so we're trained actually in not only the points here, but you can use essential oils with very fine glass probes. So I also teach, and I've been doing auricular therapy for about 30 years, somewhere in between my, walking on fire with Dr. Gary Young. Those were some of the things I trained with also Dr. David Stewart, who's an aromatherapist through the Center for Aromatherapy Research and Education many, many years ago. But I want you to look up Nogier, Nogier. Okay, so what we also did is we can go into these areas, and it will go more into the dermis, epidermis, going into the fascia and stuff like that. So there's a whole bunch of tones way beyond solfeggio tones, okay? Just scratching the surface of stuff, which we know. Into here as well, I'm not going to get a whole bunch into it, but there are neurotransmitters to do with the brain. So, GABA, serotonin, those sort of things. And again, if you've had a head injury, we can even do energetic to see what the gamma, beta, delta is going. So if you're under stress, we need to get you into a more relaxed state, right? So emotions could be looked at because, again, low back is going to be fear, grief, pain, those sort of things. So we could just go in here and start doing emotional releasing, right? So those are fun things as well. So as we crawl up, we've done now the biofield. We've done the mental part, higher chakras. Now we can go into the actual nutrition part. So let's say we want to look at minerals and vitamins, okay? What you may be not breaking down is just as important as what minerals and vitamins are too low. Okay, so maybe you need a boost of vitamin C for a month. Maybe you need some niacin, and maybe we need to go into the minerals next, because that's what I'm finding is a lot of people have got biofilm leaky gut, and some of their minerals are barely negligible. So just because you're taking stuff, or people go, "Why I'm on a Kangen machine," that doesn't mean you're alkaline. Okay, so very, very important. So let's say I wanted to do a vitamin therapy. I could do this or put my stuff on a plate and do vitamin and mineral therapy. My gosh, what a concept. So as we go up, let's take a look at that spine. So whether it's for me, you, whatever, we both have got back pain today, don't we, Colin? So you can crawl up and down the spine, okay? So blue means that it's pinched. Red is inflamed. Over energy, under energy. Acute symptoms, hypochronic symptoms. So as we go up and down the spine, like the itsy bitsy spider, okay, we can go in here. Then I can also organize it. I could hit up here and go, oh, those are all the chronic areas. Oh, I could hit it again, and we're going to have all the inflamed areas. Okay, so now what we can do is literally touch here and just do the spine. Are you impressed? I get a wow. Nanette, is this making sense to you? Okay. Let me know if it's making sense to you. This is the kind of stuff I want to go back and teach basics. It's one thing to have machines. It's one thing to have technology. It's a different thing to learn how to interface it properly. You know, I appreciate most people haven't been doing this for 40 some years now, but I got the hang of it for the most part. Okay. May not know it all, may know nothing, but I'm okay, you know, in here. Now, one of the things too is those sensitivities and the allergies. The allergies are so, so important. Why are they important, you guys? Because a lot of people are taking things that are causing the pain and causing the inflammation. I don't know. Colin, are you taking coffee every day? Okay. Is that the cause, the real root cause of why you're not alkalizing it? Okay. This is where we need to go. You have to do it in tandem with each other, right? So maybe you're taking, do you know how many people are leptins, gluten, things like that? Maybe you're taking corn. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that bread. Maybe it's, I had clients that used to take, you know, Cheese Whiz every morning and wondered why they had Alzheimer's. Then when we removed it and we did the colonic, we took the biofilm and the plaque of the Cheese Whiz out, which can you imagine my colon had therapy tubes all turned orange. That was an experience. Okay. I've seen little bugs. I've seen big bugs. And even though, as he said, I eat a healthy diet, we have limits, but even though you think you are, it's not that. It's what you absorb. Because if you absorb properly, your immune system would have kicked in and we wouldn't be having chronic pain. Okay. So you might have something biofilmed up or one part of the colon. There's reflexology and mineral points, and there are thousands of them. And if you just have one or two of them blocked up, you will not be able to absorb that. And there you go. So instead of having a battery, your battery is low. Okay. So that's a whole different thing. That's why these are important. And again, how many people know about electrical sensitivities? I think we're all I'm talking to the choir here, right? Are we looking at things, let's say like 5G, 6G, 7G, Wi-Fi, things like that, UHF, okay, radio waves, fluorescent lights, all these things, and you could have had an accumulation and just haven't cleared it out of the system here. And we have to take a look at this. And this is very common. What my clients will say that Colin just said in the chat with me. Never had a cold or, you know, detox or something in 6 years. Some of my sickest clients are the ones that are asymptomatic, by the way, you know, and all the people that died suddenly. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but what I'm saying is that most people should be flagging it. I have such an intense immune system that if I'm around someone that's been taking the joy juice, as you know, I will start actually bleeding, not just get a headache. My hairs will go stand on end, start feeling like I'm going to start like, you know, radiation illness, like wanting to vomit. But I literally, if I'm that close or they've touched me accidentally, I have actually started bleeding. Okay. So that's an immune system. That's called intact. So not reacting, which I find probably 95% of the people are non-reactive now. We've just taken on too much, literally shit, too much crap, and we can't clear it out. So we need to use this kind of technology to assess that. If we're okay with MRIs, we're okay with CAT scans, we're okay. This is just a focused ultrasound. Okay, so let's remember what this is, a focused ultrasound. And that brings up the point too. Is it a dog? Is it a cat? Where are we getting things reinfected? Is it a spouse? Is it a partner? Okay, I've talked to 4 people this week, and you know where they were all getting spiked and spiked and spiked again? Because I explained how important it is when you go to a store. My guys are all trained. Okay, I go to the store and I don't go trick-or-treating, but I have my bag open and I make them stick the change in here. I've never touched anyone in the store yet. Like, that is important. You have to know how to do this. Okay, so no one comes up and touches me. You have to keep that biofield intact. So one of the other things as we talked about is electrical sensitivities. We talked now about the digestion system. So that digestive system might be working in one area, but not in another. Maybe it's a little bit of SIBO. Maybe it's a little bit of the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Maybe there's still residual mercury. There are so many things that it can interfere with digestion. My favorite, as you know, and again, I could just go to essential oils and start doing essential oil therapy, doing an aromatherapy like this. Okay. Why do we want to use oils again? Because oils go through all chakras. Okay. Smudging is very limited. Hydrosols are very limited. Herbs, even more limited, but not the strength as you can get here when you're doing essential oils, I might add. So using those basic oils, like I said, get a little kit. If you don't have one, you get one today. As long as they're grade 1, which is therapeutic, or grade 2 organic, I don't care. That's weird. Oh, sounds good. Someone's talking to me. This is scary. Had that happen once or twice. Oh, so yes, time to put my blue thing in here. My blue thing is flashing at me going, low battery. I'm going, I'm hearing a woman's voice. Okay. Anyway, amino acids, the entire body system. So maybe the muscle skeletal system needs some help. Maybe, the reproductive system. There's a lot of stuff with low back pain, by the way, that's connected to reproductive system that gets misdiagnosed. And again, infections. Now, infections are so important because we can tell parasites, biofilm, fungus, candida, yeast. And I am so sick, and especially people right now, we've got the biggest international fight going on. And now I hear they're going to hear the appeal in the court for the ostrich thing. You know why this can be a very positive thing? Because you know what? All the accumulated information that everyone has found, like Dave Dixon, Rick Walker, Canuck Law, every one of us that have now participated in digging deeper and spending some of our lives, is that we are finding that there is so much stuff in here. And I'm not going to argue viruses. Is there viruses? Isn't there viruses? Has it been isolated? Has it not? Let's face it. Virus means poison. Who the hell is not poisoned on this like land? Okay, including the ostriches that were really injected with biowarfare and all sorts of nefarious stuff. They ceased as you would take someone and block their third eye with the pharmaceuticals, with the Marisol, with mercury, with black goo, with the graphene. The graphene now hooks anyone up. Okay, the graphene hooks you up to the wide body area network, and that is the problem. Okay. So parasites we can look for, stressing chemicals and all this. So all the above. So all we have to do is put everything we want into the tray or individually and play. That's it. All we have to do is then organize it. This will even tell me and organize it to see where should I start. So if you don't know where to start, this is you. This is how intelligent you are. This is innate, automatic, affiliated, integrative, interfacing intelligence. You know what it is? It's you. Okay, so we're just using computers to organize some of these things here. Now, the first thing that comes up is NAC. Okay, I just talked to someone. Isn't that funny? Because I was thinking about, I need to tell them about NAC. So one of the people got a hold of me and said, I just saw Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so, and they said I need to go get this, augmented NAC. Well, guess what? NAC. I looked at it. It had silicone dioxide and about 3 other caking agents. And I'm like, why do you want to pay $70 plus whatever shipping and handling, like $100 Canadian? Why? Because you can go in and get clean stuff at realrawfood.com. We can go into National Nutrition. We can do that, or we can augment it, But again, we have to be careful. Read the bloody labels today. Okay, next thing that comes up is pH happy caps. And I knew that. Back sore means double up on the baking soda or double up on my pH happy caps. You need that? Talk to Cindy. It's called suedehills.com, Upper BC. And look at all the stuff. pH. Okay. Injury causes. Let's see if we can see this here. I'm going to export. We can also export all these things to you. But anyway, hard to see a bit. I get it. NAC, pH happy caps. Purify pH. Okay. So it's giving me a hint. Go do some pH stuff, right? And get some oils going. Okay, so now we're just going to play a little bit here for Colin. And again, take a look at what's happening. Once you get the biofield, right? Run those frequencies. And all you have to do is put play. So you could go do 28 pages, knock yourself out. And again, like I said, you could do it before bed. Put it on low, put it in a different room as long as it's within 20 feet of you. It's going to work even better. And then just hook yourself up like a battery booster. Put those headphones on. Put the headphones around a glass of water. So there we go. So we're just going to listen. We're going to have a meditative moment. This is Friday's meditation. 1 minute for you. So just close your eyes. Deep relaxation and listen. Now, has anyone noticed something in there? Have you noticed the frequency? I want you to pay attention to it. So it usually takes about, I'd say, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to run through. We have other things that we can do with PEMF and light and sound technology. And you run that for 45 minutes and you feel this rush, almost like you've had a niacin flush go through the system. So this is an amazing technology. So isn't it nice to be out here in the trees and enjoy this nature as it's raining down on my head today? So I don't know if you hear that pitter patter. Let's get at her. I see my neighbors come out. We had the biggest tree crack today. Oh my gosh. I heard this incredible sound. I thought the world was coming apart and we had a fault line. On the neighbor's tree came out about 100 feet away and literally took out half the yard. Thank gosh I was away. So give me a little bit about what you're experiencing here. So Nanette, what are you noticing? Colin, what are you doing? Colin, you're noticing you're more relaxed? Yeah, absolutely. So even when I have it going back here, just really subtly, okay? So even if it's going subtly, you guys, you're picking it up on an energetic level. So you can imagine I'm going to do a whole room full of stuff tomorrow. So while Nanette's in there, so do you have any questions, Nanette? Anything I can help you with here today? That's why I'm one of the trainers, as you know, international trainers here. Okay, I'm one of the chief trainers for Insight Health Apps for Ryan Williams. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, because it's very easy to do. Like I said, you can go to Insight Health Apps or get a hold of me. I can put the links on there too. Okay, and this is where people need to go. When we have therapists, and I think that's really cool that we're going to be having the little things. So again, I wish we would have another thing, but think of it as that little genius right now. We can push that and it will help instead of telemedicine. I don't think we need to be worried about this. This is not AI the way you think of it. Okay, it should be put down better. It's not really AI. It takes the algorithm, just like your voice, and it gives some suggested remedies. Okay, and so look at it that way. We need to really get away from that AI thing. It's not that it's about them. Okay, and we have computers. You already are using something that works on a trivector. So I think for a lot of people starting out, they don't need to have necessarily, like, you don't have 40 years behind you. I mean, the allopathic and the naturopathic, right? So try it out. You can always stop it, right? But people have found it's really helpful. And I think for people starting out, if you've got a vitamin B that's low and a vitamin C that's low and this is out and that's out, it may say, hey, remember we have reports here, okay? Let's look at the report here. For those people that don't know things, we can go up here into the biofield and it will analyze that client for you. The minerals are low. The vitamins are low. Okay, this needs to be looked at. It will put it in order of priority. Chronic, acute, symptoms, okay, underlying causes. Okay, so you can go that route to it. The other thing too is when you go into what's called the body, I can look at just the digestion. I can look at just the hormones. I can look at the spine. I can look at your vitamins. I can look at your minerals. I can look at the infection. I can look at the stress today, where to start with you. Okay, so on that, my lymphatics need to drain. And I've been around fungus, as I said today. I was around fungus and mold, and it's like, yeah. Okay, so there we go. There is a way to actually do that. So is that artificial intelligence? No, I consider that as a nice report. Okay, so then we have chakras. We have sulfidiotones. We have, again, the biofield, the synergy. Let's look at traditional Chinese medicine. How many meridians can be affected? Okay, so then we can go into the sulfidiotones and say, hey, look at all the tuning forks I can choose from. Oh, I should choose that tuning fork. There you go. Okay, so again, these things are available. That's why I don't have a problem with a lot of this stuff. You're already using things. Brain. How many people feel like an emotional basket case or figure, as Colin said, I think they're all zombies these days driving out there. But, this is why. Okay. But is there Bach flowers? Okay. So there's one way to look at a report. Okay. Here's the other way, is that basically we can go in and do what's called reporting. And you can actually go and have a focused session for someone, right? And tell you actually What's the energy level of someone today? What's counterproductive? What's toxicity in there? Okay. And then if you need it in another form of a scan, look how many scans we have for people. I think this is like marvelous. So that's what I'm saying. You already have reporting systems that are based on what the Genius Insight Health apps is doing. And again, remember, we've got two different ones. We also have stuff in here where I can send to a client what's called a capsule. And so I can have you put your voice and picture ahead of time for me. We can look at things too into biomarkers. We can look at things and put your minerals and vitamins on. I mean, how many people would like to know that we could do neuro remedies? How many people think they're having brain fog or they're depressed or there is, what's the new one? Neurodivergence. Always got to be a new one. Anyway, most things are, usually pH and parasitical. Guided imagery. I mean, look at all the clients. I can actually send all these clients here a capsule and go to my members in here and say, hey, do you guys want a capsule today? So there are lots of things that could be available. And I think one of the most exciting things that I absolutely love in here, there's a whole section on training and education, you guys. Did you know this? Did you know that this is in the back here? Training and education. Okay. We have PDFs for people here. You can go get trained on level 1 for free. Did you know this, Nanette? You're going, wow, did you know this? This is why I need to do some seminars, I think, right? Then you can go in and get trained and certified. Okay. Then you have a PDF, right? How long have you been doing this? And you didn't know that. I'm part of Quantum University. I've been part of the university since the university started up. I'll be his longest student too. Okay. Voice resonant coaching, getting to know stuff. Genius is the only one that's interfaced with the university. Did you know that? Did you know that this Insight Health apps, we are blazing the trails of telemedicine right now? Okay. And the reason why we talked about doing this advanced assessment for reporting for you is because, do you know, in the States and Canada, I'm sure will be coming, is you can actually phone in, go on the internet or go whatever you want, put in your symptoms. The computer will spit out their artificial intelligence. Okay. Don't assimilate what we're doing naturally with artificial, synthetic, allopathic. But allopathically, you can put in your symptoms. It will tell you your diagnosis, your psychiatric disorder, the prescriptions that you need, and then you can talk to the doctor and he'll sign it off for you. That's how scary that was. Okay. So then we have, again, do you want a record or not? We don't care. It's up to you. You don't have to keep anything. So again, you're going to put your voice in. The voice is synergistic. And I'll tell you, every letter that you have has got a level pattern. Okay. Once you get the voice pattern in here, it will match up the remedy. Okay. So again, look at all the different ones we have. That's just one. And like I said, you can go in here and add libraries. You can make whatever you want. And again, knowing how to assess things. Again, you take it with a grain of salt. Again, it could be your issue. It could be someone else's issue. You could be picking up some of these other issues, right? So, I mean, how to actually do reporting. Everything is in the back here. How to make a neuro remedy. How to put a library together. Okay, so this is really important. Okay, so this whole thing is in the back. And again, one of the other things that's always so juicy on here is that I want you to look at the medical research. Did you look at all the medical research on here? Okay, it's modeled on vocal biomarkers. This was developed in part from some of the research from did you know this is a tricorder? It's not a computer. It's not binary 0 and 1s. It's a tricorder. It took them with that, Ryan Williams and the beginning teams and stuff like that. Did you know it took over 40 Russian scientists to come up with this over 30 years ago? Did you know that this technology? And that's what they've been running in again, usually in quiet or tucked away or military or something forces. Okay. So that's the impact of doing sound-based therapy. Okay. And then these are the visual things. So I'd like you to go through in the back. So those people that have it, take a look at that. These are all the studies you need to know. You absolutely need to know. These articles are in here to discuss the voices, the biomarker. These are all the studies, all the authors. These are published. These are published medical journals, okay, in here. And then you can go into all the fun stuff, acoustical things, getting rid of cancer by frequencies, okay? Did you know they've been doing it for Parkinson's? They've been doing it for Alzheimer's. Okay. I've actually had those experiences. I've had people paralyzed get up and walk, by the way. There's not too much diabetes, everything. Again, it's a frequency. Okay. Chronic tinnitus, understanding bioresidency in its clinical psychological effects. Okay. The semantics. Do you know we're using semantics onto sound already? And they're doing it already in neurosurgery. Okay. So most people may not be aware of that. And then there's a whole entire section here about going in and using things with even guided imagery. Okay, we've got a whole section on how to relax, PDS for people. All this stuff is in the back. And one of my favorite things as well is going in and finding those particular items, right? And those particular items, especially with the BioVibe and stuff like that, there's entire studies here. And we'll see if you know this machine. Okay, we have a BioVibe. Okay, you can try this out. This is under $100 a year. It's like $15 a month. Okay, you can go and do the voice. Okay, get your voice print, get your categories on here so you can go for pain, relaxation, whatever, cleansing, detoxes, hormones, whatever. There's lots of stuff to try it on the BioVibe. And then more importantly, again, we can do your, other stuff with things. And what we start doing, these are some of the classes I teach. Okay, I've taught for quantum chit chat. I have taught for a lot of things over the years, but I've also did, if you haven't seen my quantum chit chats on BitChute and the Telegram group with Michelle Martin, take a look at it. Okay, but I teach all over. This is the biofield classes that are being taught for. Who's that? Those are the synergists, guys. That's the Sabrina Wallace scripts. Okay, so if you want to get in touch with that, Solana Fox here next to me on Odyssey. She's got Solana Fox 0156. Okay, so doing those type of things, these are classes that I've done over the years. Okay, and group classes. So if you haven't seen that, you're missing out. The reason I wanted to bring this to your attention, there are some of the ones I want you to go to YouTube. Okay, Dr. Lee Bartell out of Toronto. How many people are up here in Canada? Well, I'm not Canadian, but as people know that. Dr. Lee Bartell has done stuff here. And basically you can do music as medicine at a cellular level. Okay, at a cellular level. Okay, shattering cancer with frequencies. That's Dr. Anthony Holland on TED Talks. Using the voice to detect and monitor health. Okay, it's already out there. Royal Rife, acoustical medicine, violet medicine. That's all in your genius if you look, you guys. And that's one of the things too. So anyway, those are some of the fun things that I wanted people to go into. And like I said, when you're feeling a little bit better, okay, you're going to get the hot pinks and hot purples. When you're not feeling so great, it's going to be duller colors. Okay, so people that are getting, for example, spiked, shed on, headaches, breaking a new, having a headache, stuff like this, it's all in there. So you can go from that to this in half an hour. Okay, which do you think is better? This one or this one? And that's budget just doing the sound. And again, how many of you guys have got pets here? How many people have got pets here? Cats and animals, gerbils, whatever. Okay, don't forget that we can do all those animals as well. Okay, very, very important. And our new one up there as well. Has anyone seen the Neurovisor? There we go. That's another thing. That could be detached as well, like our PMF. You don't have to have it, just the fractals and the lights. If you don't want it there, you could put this on the back. You could put this anywhere, by the way. So again, if you've got cats, again, you can run any of this stuff here with cats or do their water. Okay, so I've done a lot of animals over the years. So that's something you might want to take a look at. And some of the ones that we're doing with the new Neurovisor, better sleep, meditation, brain gym, brain entrainment. This is all about that. So again, have you done water for the cat? Have you done the cat's food? Okay, because what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are feeding things like kibbles and bits, which are not healthy because they're not making their own organic foods. So one of the things you can do is clear out some of the toxins on your plates with the animals and the dogs and the cats and whatever, and then re-imprint it and then give it to them, or give them the water and do your frequency vibrational water. Okay, do your essential oils. How many people know, have you actually done raindrop for cats? Have you looked up raindrop for cats? There's only about a dozen oils you don't use for a cat or dog. And let me tell you, when I've had cats or dogs die, and I used them anyway, and that's what saved their life. So again, take some like education, but take a look and look raindrop for cats. So if you haven't done that, that's worth doing. So anyway, I want you to thank you guys so much. Okay, you guys are joining me. This is a very auspicious occasion. I was supposed to be in Winwa, but it's raining and it's Chucky. So I decided, no, I'm going to keep my frequency at Friday at 5 and keep my province to you guys. And they're coming up here anyway. So nothing starts without me anyway. So any questions before we leave? Have we got this? Has this been educational? Give me a thumbs up. If you've enjoyed this, let me know. And if you have any suggestions or you'd like me to do some distance things here. And Nanette says, thank you. And Colin's like, oh, this is great. I chased him around the house with the giant octopus. Okay, I don't know if I want to know anymore. But one of the things I want to do is before we leave, I'm going to get into some tuning forks just before we go. Okay, you can get these little things. I just love this. These are hockey pucks. Hockey night in Canada. Anyway, one of the things as well is with these tuning forks, okay? Take a look at them. You can look at Eileen Kisdick. You can look at Aquatonics, all sorts of stuff. Again, your tuning forks can be actually put on your Genius, okay? You can do this. I actually know which ones to use. And again, these are unweighted. So again, you can hit your little hockey puck thing. You guys hear that? Let's try that again. You guys able to hear that? So these are one of the things you can do also, Colin, is you can get some of these and then put them on the acupuncture points. Put your essential oils and then put your acupuncture points. Okay, so low back, you can even do here or get someone else to do on the back, or you could do put lots of oils on your little footsies and your little paws and then run that up the side here as well. So that's another idea. And then let's look at our other ones, okay? So you can get these kits or whatever you want. Now we'll look at something that's weighted. Aren't these fun? They're just like full of color. Almost like I'm eating candy and lollipops here today. Okay, so you can get these as well. These are weighted. These work more on the physical. So again, now that's coming to, can you guys hear that? These are absolutely really, really amazing. So when you, okay, these really vibrate. Okay, you're going to, okay, I get great things with people. So what we've done here is actually got those. These can be used for animals as well. Do the essential oils. And then you can put this onto the spine. I've had people had entire Kundalini awakening things. Put it on and went, right? And they've been vibrating. So again, these are really, really nice. So again, okay, a multitask. Okay, and remember, what do you want to do? You want to start out in the outer part of the biofield and comb it and sweep it, right? You know, you can put them on different points here, like 2-pointing. I was trained in matrix energetic. One of my favorite docs in the world, one of my most famous guys ever, is Dr. Richard Bartlett. If you don't know matrix energetics, do that. Again, using crystals. Crystals could be done with essential oils and this. Again, your crystals can be then boosted up here, and then I can use these on different points, and maybe we'll talk next week a little bit of auricular therapy. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of homework. Is that okay? It's not homework, it's home play. I want you guys to go look up everything you can, because I think next week we're going to really focus on something called the auricular therapy. Okay, so we're going to talk about essential oils on here. We're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Paul Noget next week. And we're going to talk about, I want you guys to look up Dr. Karenann Mein, M-E-I-N, okay? And look up her on YouTube. And we're going to talk a little bit about releasing emotional patterns with essential oils. So we'll talk about how to use biofeedback, how to use the Genius, how to use Rife, how to use oils. And we're going to work on this part of the chakra up here, okay? So we're going to be working on higher resonancies, okay? So it's not just, I want you, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people I know want to help. A lot of these people are jumped, spiked, and joy juiced. You should not be touching them. Okay? It's one thing, even to be out in the biofield. This is something that you can teach people that they can do at home. Oils, pH, and tuning forks, people can self-administer. Okay? Now, when we do this, on either side of someone's head. Do you know what I like doing? I actually love to do a biofeedback. And if their spouse, partner, or loved one or a friend is near them, make sure they don't touch them, but within about 6 inches, and after about 5 minutes, that individual's starting to feel the pulsing. Okay. I have actually done it from a distance, from like out here to like Georgia. And after 5 minutes, I watched the water starting to vortex and spin. You'd think I was doing a martini. But anyway, that was just from a distance. So sometimes when you hit the right note, the right sweet spot, it can affect anything. So anyway, I think this is great. Colin said, yes, you've got a 12 fret C pentatonic, slightly tuned up. And Nanette says, yep, you're feeling it. Okay, so let's leave it there for today. Okay, pat on the back. Okay, so I want everyone to kind of do this. Let's give ourselves a self-hug today. Okay, because you know what? That just feels great. Okay, give yourself a hug. And that's the same thing when we're, getting things moving in Tai Chi, Qigong, and everything else, getting those meridians, tuned up. But you know what? Just give yourself a hug and do that for about a minute. Okay. Are you guys doing that with me? Are you feeling it? Okay. You should be starting to feel tingling. And that's why it's so important. Like I always say, go get some essential oils, put some in your left hand, activate it in the right, get it on the ears. We'll talk about auricular, like I said, in here, all through the head. I can actually feel this. I feel like I'm having like this, sparkle of tingling all over the place, This is just essential oil aromatherapy orgasms, because you can feel it. You can feel the energy and you can feel the vibration going through, right? And as you feel better, everyone feels that. And what we're doing, we're bringing that frequency. We gave you the frequency of the oils in here. We gave everyone a bit of a smudge session, right? Isn't this cool? So these are some of the things I think that would be great. So like I said, you can stick all the things you want for motivation. You can stick things on a plate here and, juice it up for the month, get things going. But I think this is very, very important. We need to be able to come together and get motivated and help people. And this is one of the easiest ways. And I could not get over. If I went into that room and I brought my original generator, which is still sitting there, the Skeel, that was a $50,000 investment for my clinic. And let me tell you, we all had one in each one of the rooms. Okay. So we had literally over $250,000 worth of stuff in my clinic at that time. And now when you can get these for a couple $100, or even a beginner genius for $99 down. Oh, please. I used to spend more going out for supper and on shoes, than I think of what we could do. That's why I have 5 of them now. But anyway, like I said, even for that, get the investment into yourself. Even if we have them, I have one for each one of these different towns and villages now. We're looking at things, things are critical right now. Absolutely critical. I'm going to do some more stuff with Dr. Richard Allen Miller. I hope you liked my shows with that. If not, go back and look at my Rumble or go look at some of the other stuff and take a look at that. So I think that's critical. And I want to thank also Ryan Belly. So if you've been at Natural Intelligence, take a look at that, because Ryan and I have done some pivotal stuff in the last month. And Ryan's always a blast to work with. So, and then I look forward. We just did some with Robert Bauer. So take a look at Robert Bauer Media. And that'll be coming up, I think, on hopefully Rumble or YouTube or Facebook or one of them. He's busy with some cute things. Oh, see, everyone's ready. I guess it's time to go. Anyway, you guys have a great week. Happy solstice. Okay, happy solstice, everyone. So take care. And we look forward to seeing you next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And I don't know, it's just unfortunate today you can't see. But next time we'll do it maybe a little bit later. And, I got beautiful mountains, but there's just so much, rain and mist today. You'd see the beautiful mountains here in the Valhalla Mountains here on the Slocan Lakes today that I'm out there and my little camper's out there. So got to keep going. Okay, take care, guys. Ciao.